Hello gamers and welcome to another YouTube video. Quickly interrupting the tier 11 reviews. I know you're looking forward towards the Hirschkaffer and the Leopard 120, but don't worry, this tank not disappointing. It's going to be on the Zwilling and it actually ends up being pretty damn good. But for the rest you're going to have to watch a video. So honestly, like I said, the TS54 is the best comparison for this. Simply because it really is kind of like a TS54. Very big similarities in playstyle as well, and same alpha as well, but this pen is already a pretty big difference. TS lacking in that, so this gets a little bit better reload than the TS54 as well. It gets better reload because of this as well. Better salvo preparation, but not by much, not like super noticeable, but it's all things that stack up onto it. Better gun depression, same aiming time, but better dispersion, better DPM, of course. HP is the same. Third armor, the TS54, is more annoying to shoot in the turret than the Zwilling IMO, but that's different stuff. But you could see, like, honestly, between this and the TS, the differences are not that big altogether. Fine. The biggest difference between the Zwilling and the TS54 in terms of gameplay will be the intra clip, where the Zwilling has a 1.5 and the TS54 has much longer. That makes hitting the second shot much more comfortable. So let's go over this first. The Zwilling. The most interesting part of it, what you need to know, is the armor. Now, this is Zwilling against Zwilling, 273mm of pen. When we're looking in a hold down, the Zwilling is very, very strong. This is where the Zwilling will shine in general. It will still, against higher tiers, you can see 290 will get punched through by those higher tiers, right? But in purely hold on situations, this Zwilling will be totally fine. Purely hold on, right? This is the most optimal situation it can find. Once it gets out of that, you can see how this hull is not that much to speak about. It's not that great anymore outside of that hold on, especially this side plate will make it so side scraping in this tank is completely impossible. You can try to bait them, but it has to be like a super tight side scrape just to bait and not to side scrape. If you really try to side scrape, it's not going to work, right? It will not work. You will get penned. It will be very annoying. You will die. The cupola, you can see it here, is honestly pretty hard to hit. That's why, again, in pure hold down, the tank is fantastic. Outside of that, though, you will really struggle with this hull. Not just because of that, but also because you can get penned through the track, right? It doesn't really show here. Maybe because I need to put it on advanced. Not sure. Anyways, once you are on this kind of terrain, they will pen you through the track. I guess the thing is not capable of showing it, but it doesn't matter. I've played it, and once you're on this kind of stuff, you end up... maybe it's because of the caliber. Yeah, it's the caliber. So with a higher caliber gun, that is like shooting from below, you can see, had the wrong caliber listed. Well, not even a high caliber. 100mm is not really a high caliber. You can see how these underplates become very, very weak. This is the same in hold on as well. That's like the belly you can shoot for. So this is something you need to be very aware of because there's a lot of terrain that is going to be pretty difficult for you to play because of that downside that you're facing. But again, purely hold on, tank is fantastic. The moment we go out of hold on, however, the tank starts being a little bit off paper as well. So that's why I think, again, this is a good tank, but it's still going to be pretty hard to play because not every map you can just sit, hold on, and actually have a decent game. So coming into this tank, I honestly didn't expect too much at all from it. I didn't really check out the stats. I didn't really check out anything. I just decided to play and see how it goes. And honestly, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. Even though you saw in the armor model that this tank is, you know, like another one of those hold down tanks. It is comparable not to the 703, like many of you will ask. Is it better than a 703? I think it's pointless to compare it to a 703. It's actually way, way more comparable to a TS54. And honestly, this tank felt pretty good at the end of the day. And you'll see that as well. This, I'll call it a mechanic where you double. It increases your, or decreases your aim time. And allows you to get actually pretty accurate shots. You see this, I used the double to aim down, and then I switched to do a single actually, because he went despotted. I can tell you as well that this shot hit. That's for later on. Yeah, with this low alpha though, which is 280, pretty good pen. I think still that most people will not end up enjoying this too much. That's why, you know, if you're looking at a double barrel, probably 703 still reigns supreme altogether in the category, simply because, well, it has much higher alpha, much easier to play for the people on the tank as well. And, you know, even though I like this tank, I will say that, I think most people will not like it. If you like a TS54, however, you will like this tank as well. This double is very comfortable, but you don't really need to use the double. It's kind of like with the TS54. Well, it's basically like the TS54. You only double if you're certain you're going to hit it, and you're doing it to avoid taking damage. Shooting slightly early here, so I miss out on a shot, but the intra-clip between this as well is also very, very nice when you have two shots available. It's like 1.5 seconds, so basically not noticeable at all. You shoot, you reload, and you're ready to rock and roll again. So honestly, you know, even though I didn't expect much, I was actually pleasantly surprised by playing this. The turret is good, the upper hull is fine as well. Your turret will get punched through by higher tiers, that's just the way it is. That's kind of the thing for most turrets, I guess. Is that once you meet those higher pen guns, you will end up getting penetrated by them as well. But outside of that, against tier 8s, tier 9s, and tier 7s, it holds its ground pretty well. And is actually a pretty good farmer. But again, saying back that this is not the tank that the casual player will really, really love. Simply because, again, low alpha is too hard to play for them properly. They will end up doing not very much, because if you do 2 shots at 390, you do 800. If you do 2 shots at this, you do 500 to 600. That's a big difference for people that are probably only doing 3, maybe 4 shots of damage per game. So, will you see this in mass after this battle pass ends? Probably not. Can you put some really good results down in this? Probably yes. You can see that this tank in general, so far in this battle on Runeberg, not made to be a sniper, but outside of that, pretty comfortable. However, just like every double barrel, you have these kind of moments where the double magically misses. Did I need to double there? No, of course not. You can even see where it ricocheted. Did I need to double? No, of course not. I want to do it anyways? Sure. Does it cost us a little bit? Debatable. Because we farmed the rest of his HP anyways after he got shot by somebody else, so we didn't really end up losing too much. Outside of some time, and time is also precious. But, you know, quick, nice 3.3k damage with the blind as well. And this is how most of my games went on this tank. Another double that I didn't need to do. End up missing one, honestly. Do as I say, not as I do. Don't double. Mainly single shoot. Only double if you're certain you're going to pen the shot. Losing out on time, losing out on a bit of damage now as well. Trading it out with a Mivi. And this is a very good example that you have really weak sides. And this is a very good showcase for them. You have pretty good DPM as well. But so does the Mivi. And if you're not in a position where you can hide your lower plate or where you can hide the side panels, you'll run into scenarios like this where, you know, he's farming pretty heavily back as well. Again, didn't need to double, to be honest. I did end up doubling nonetheless, just so I could go back quicker. But, you know, we're just going blow for blow. And right now, I'm blowing way harder than he is. So, luckily enough, the S-Pack saved our life. And that's 5.6. And that's a very good game at the rate already. I didn't really have any super blowout games on this tank. Like, I didn't really have anything like spectacular, but I have a lot of very consistent high damage. But like I said, not blowout games, which, you know, is also a thing about a tank. Not everything can be over highlighted. And then the Astron actually decides to shoot us and kill us. So we get 6.2. Would have been slightly more, but for a 5-minute Runeberg, in a tier 8, that's a very, very good result. Where this tank will shine, however, is maps like Mountain Pass, where you have a lot of potential to hide your hull, your side plate, and play kind of hold down as well with it. Now, can I say not only does the tank play pretty nice, I actually really think this is a good looking style as well. When you're looking at it, it's not over the top, but at the same time it's pretty cool. So like in terms of where collapse goes and the looks of it, I think it's actually solid, to be honest. I know like this kind of stuff is not for everybody, but no, I quite like this, to be honest. It looks good. It's a good looking tank, nonetheless. But yeah, here on Mountain Pass, quite often now we'll go towards the bridge in the beginning instead of going immediately towards J2. Simply to deny any crosser, because with the update to Mountain Pass, which quite a while ago at this point, you have the positions here, like on the corner, or where the list is right now. But since he was already going there, there's no point to go there with 2. You go there and you honestly dominate whoever crosses the bridge. They can't really do much against you, especially if you have like some sort of a playable turret, playable hull, something you can peek with. You'll always have the advantage. The list position is the best one out of the 2 though. But since there's nothing there, we end up going towards 1-2 line as well, because we see a lot of our tanks crossing, and we decide to join them in this endeavor. You can also really see that this tank doesn't need stabs. I mean, you could take it if you wanted to for ultimate gun handling. I think with vents it's totally fine, but nonetheless, it's a bit up to you, I would guess. A little bit, like 5%. Look at the 5100. Try to get a shot, but he pulls forward, so that's not going to happen. Let me see. Pershing, Zwilling, TS-54. Not easy tanks to pen for us, to be honest. The Panther is the easiest one. Not the Panther, the Pershing is actually the easiest one. The 5100. Peeking out again. We do want to punish that, but we cannot. The 5100 has awareness. So we end up just looking back into this nice little hold-on fight, which I think many of you will love. Looking at the TS-54 over peeking, make a shot go, don't connect that one. Reloading, and just like with the TS-54, normally what is best, you just play on, if you can, you play on the first shot. And you just keep the second shot until you're no longer able to continue shooting, and then you fire it, but I understand it's not very easy. That's for ultimate, ultimate farm. In most cases, it's totally okay. Just, you know, shoot your 2 shots and then play on single shot as well if that's easier for you. Thankfully, they have a Pershing, something we can actually pen. And I know watching this is going to make many of you enjoy this lovely hold-on fight that so many of you are a fan of. Now, the 5100 is speaking out of making a mistake. I think I wait for the double as well. And this is where you can definitely use the double just to, you know, less exposure time. So instead of taking 1 or 2 from the 5100, we end up taking 0. So you can definitely utilize the double for that. The TS-54 in the meantime gets armoured by the Skoda. He's very happy about his Vault Plus subscription. Fishing, magically balancing our shots. Must have been some armor update to the turret that I missed out on. And for the Zwilling, you can see that the only place that I really have to shoot at is at Cupola, and that is actually a very small shot. So when hiding the hull, when hiding the lower plate, when hiding the side plate, it actually ends up working pretty well, to be honest. And honestly, with this tank, it's kind of the same as with a TS and maybe like a Karn or something. It's like you don't really notice how much you're farming, because you're just constantly farming when you get into the fight. It's just you're shooting, and you know, just end up with like consistent 4 to, let's say, 7k damage battles, which are of course very good for tier 8. It's not 11k on the turtle, but you know, that's unlikely to repeat itself anytime soon, but you never know. And that's where, you know, like the quick burst onto the Zwilling is pretty nice, and I think that will be the enjoyable aspect for many players to get this tank as well, is just how quickly you're able to put 2 shots on target. But then you do turn into a 500 plus alpha heavy if you're capable of doing that. But at the same time, when not playing in a hold down, getting 2 quick consecutive shots will not be that easy. But if it works, it works. When in this battle, you know, it's working. It's A3, we're looking to farm paid actor in front of us. And honestly, the most enjoyable thing about this tank is that aim time reduction when you're using the double. It's like with the SFAC, but without the dispersion buff, because the SFAC does the same, right? When you charge the double, it ends up, you know, being more accurate. This one is not more accurate, but does help to hit a shot after you've been moving a while. So, you know, we got a quick 4.6k, nice, easy, straightforward farm as well. And of course, the double is also very nice for a later endgame scenario, simply because you have the opportunity to finish the game at 500 instead of 300. Let's say 600 instead of 300. And that's always a pretty nice thing to have in general. Charging the double up to cancel it, charging it again. And, you know, that's classic double behavior though. Miraculously bouncing. We do get the ram out. Of course, this tank is not the lightest, so it's pretty decent at ramming altogether. Especially these T-rates that forget to train controlled impact. But you know, across the board, again, it's not like the biggest blowout battle in the world in terms of like amazing, but it's consistent. And I'll show you my DPG so far at the end. You'll see that I had just consistent good games with this tank. Nothing that really stood out like wow, 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 blowing the leaderboard out of the water. But if you have a tank that's capable of just consistently reaching certain amounts of damage, it's also pretty nice. Doesn't need to have like the super special highlights for that. And you know, we'll finish it off with one shot on the T-32, so quick and easy. Nice 6k on this mountain pass as well. Very, very good. So here we see a less favorable kind of setting in a way for the Zwilling, but still favorable at the same time. It's tier 7 with tier 9. But the map is the biggest like downside here. It's Karelia, and I've recently, over the last few months, grown to kind of dislike Karelia, simply because I feel like I got it every single hour, like 17 times. Karelia, 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 Karelia. And honestly, I just don't really like about how the map plays anymore. Like you go, like the random event was removed from this map as well, which is curious because it actually gave you an opportunity to repush 9 line. Now it just feels like who initially takes it, controls it, and then owns everything that committed. So I don't know, not really a fan of it. I opt to go left because of this as well. I'm like, I don't really want to go right and then sit on the corner, do nothing for a while, and end up in a bad position. Right, so I'm like, I'm gonna go left. Enemy even 90 actually getting spotted out in the middle. I would double him, but I think he got pinned by a T-49 and immediately dies after. So it's like, okay, let's not do that. I think here, something to note is, I realize this now as well, that the even 90 is not peeking, or was not peeking, or is not peeking. Doesn't really matter. He's not spotting. This is an important note that you should try to realize in your builds as well, because I'm going to be honest, I didn't realize in my game either that he wasn't spotting. So I thought when I arrive here, it's going to be empty, because how would there be somebody? The even 90 was spotting. So I was pretty surprised when I ended up spotting the Zwilling. It's an unfortunate miss on his side plate. We hit the second one though, and he got set on fire by the IKV, which is very lucky for the IKV. And then on top of the first guy, there is a second guy crossing, which is the Kolana. Luckily enough for us, he misses the shot. And I'm kind of wondering at this point what to do, how to play. The IKV is dying, which is also pretty sad, of course. You know, it's a tier 7. And a good shot against the Kilana. And at this moment in time, I'm going to be real with you, I feel like I should have already been killing the Zwilling. You could say that's a mistake. Because I could keep the IKV alive slightly longer, which would then force the Kilana to kill, or the Zwilling to kill the Kilana. Which would then be a pretty good advantage for me to kill them both after. Now, I'm in the position where I need to kill the Zwilling. And sadly, he ends up being pretty hold on for that. So I need to overpeak, which ends up getting a shot by the Kilana. Is just unfortunate. Luckily enough, the Kilana is not that good at turning around. A small ram, because this tank is not very light, puts him into track as well, get behind him. Resetting the track repair just in case over and over by ramming him and finding a pretty successful farm. And that's why the DPM is pretty nice. That's why this tank for the average or above average player is honestly pretty enjoyable, simply because you will be having these kind of games Again, maybe not blowout games, but games in which you're just casually and happily farming a few opponents with that DPM, with that pretty good gun as well, and with definitely the workable characteristics in terms of armor. Giving the double, did I need to give the double? No. Would it probably be better to do it without a double for consistency? Yes. Just like doubling, you know? I just like doubling. Can't say much more about that. It's just a thing. The IKV then ends up getting penned by the T49 as well. So the T49 in this battle. Actually a menace for the enemy team. But still, you know, already 3k damage with half HP remaining. Going for the double. Again, should I double? Probably not. Do I get the double? Yeah, I do. Just showing that this double's pretty consistent though in general as well. And again, that aim time boost being pretty nice. Now, is this tank worth your grind and battle pass? I cannot really decide that for you. I like this tank. I think it's a pretty good tank, to be honest. I'll probably still like the TS54 more. But like I said a few times already, for the more casual player, for the less good player, for somebody that doesn't know how to trade super well or to play on DPM super well, or to make work of the tank outside of a hold-on position, this will probably be a relatively frustrating experience that will be pretty tough for you. And I think we should be realistic about that as well. So for me, is it a good tank? Yes. Is it going to be a good tank for you? I am not sure. I am not sure. Maybe the gameplay will convince you whether or not you end up wanting to get it, to be honest. It's completely up to you. There's no downside or upside for me if you get a tank or not. You know, so there's that. Aiming another double here. Get that one as well. Quick 5.2. Now starting to drive down. Spot out the Samoa. The T-34 holding the base. We need him to stay alive. Trying to get a shot against the Samoa. Even waiting for the second shot to load. That's probably a mistake. End up missing. Nonetheless. And honestly, the first shot was probably a better one to take altogether. But, you know, again, it's been 5 minutes. I've got 5k. Is it the world's most amazing amount of damage for a tier 8? Is it? No. Is it very good damage for a tier 8? Oh, of course, for sure. For sure. Especially on the map that we were playing. And it's honestly a very good example of, you know, like just playing a bit of DPM, making the best of a bad situation. And doing a good amount of damage. I think at this point I realized, oh wow, we're actually losing. Or it's pretty close and slightly too late, however. I outplay myself by getting shot by the hill. And this outplay will end up costing us. Because, you know, with 400 HP we can't cross the open anymore. We would like to go reset the cab, but sadly the contender makes a good peek behind the bush and puts us in the grave. So, after watching the whole video, we've come here to the end of the video. The average damage from the Zwilling ending up at 3,999 after 30 battles, proving that it is indeed a very potent tank. But I still feel like I'd like the TS54 just a little bit more than the Zwilling, even though I have better results on the Zwilling nonetheless. But you can see this tank is actually very potent. But again, I think this is not something that most casuals will enjoy due to the fact that it has low alpha, and low alpha tanks in general are very hard to play properly and perform in for people that have less experience or just less good in the game. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just something to keep into the back of your minds as well. As always, gamers, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I'll see you guys all in the very next one. Thank you for chilling. Have a good one. Good.